Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her hands against the cold metal wall of the research ship. Her heart was beating fast. After 10 years of work, today was the day. Today, humans would travel faster than light for the first time. Are all systems ready? She asked her team. Around her, 20 scientists and engineers worked at their stations. The ship Prometheus was not big, but it held the most important machine humans had ever built. Quantum drive is online, called out Dr. Kim from his station. All readings are normal. Navigation systems ready, said Captain Torres. He was a military man, but he understood how important this moment was. We are far from Earth. No other ships around us. Elena looked at the main screen. It showed empty space filled with distant stars. They were at the edge of human space, far from any planets or space stations. This was the safest place to test their new drive. The quantum tunneling drive was Elena's life work. Other scientists said it could not be done. They said faster than light travel was impossible without help from alien technology. But Elena believed humans could find their own way. Begin the countdown, Elena said. Her voice was steady, but inside she felt excited and scared. 10 seconds to jump, announced the ship's computer. 9.8.7. Elena closed her eyes. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. 3.2.1. Jump. The world changed. Elena felt like she was being pulled apart and put back together in the same second. Colors that had no names flashed before her eyes. Then, suddenly, everything was normal again. Jump complete, said the computer. We have traveled 4.2 light years in 3.7 seconds. The team cheered. They had done it. Humans could now travel between stars in seconds instead of years. Elena opened her eyes and looked at the main screen. The stars looked different. They were in a new place, far from home. Where are we exactly? Elena asked. Dr. Kim checked his instruments. We are in the Alpha Centauri system, just like we planned. The jump worked perfectly. Captain Torres was smiling, but then his face changed. Wait, I'm getting something on sensors. There's a ship. Out there. Everyone became quiet. They were supposed to be alone in this empty part of space. What kind of ship? Elena asked. It's big, Torres said, looking worried. Much bigger than ours, and it's moving toward us very fast. On the main screen, a shape appeared. It was not like any human ship. The alien vessel was long and smooth, with strange curves and no sharp edges. Lights blinked along its surface in patterns Elena had never seen. They're sending us a message, said Dr. Park, the communications expert. But it's in a language. I don't understand. Elena's excitement turned to fear. Humans had never met aliens before. They always wondered if other intelligent life existed, but now they knew the answer. Can you send a reply? Elena asked. I can try basic math and pictures, Dr. Park said. Universal concepts that any smart species should understand. Before Dr. Park could send anything, the alien ship moved closer. It was huge, at least 10 times bigger than the Prometheus. Strange beams of light came from the alien ship and surrounded the human vessel. They're scanning us, Torres said. Our shields can't stop it. Elena felt helpless. Their great achievement had led them into danger. She wished they had been more careful about where they tested the drive. The alien ship's message changed. This time, Dr. Park looked surprised. I can understand parts of it, he said. They're using simple pictures and numbers. They want to know how we got here. What should we tell them? Asked Dr. Kim. Elena thought quickly. Tell them we are explorers. From Earth, we come in peace. Dr. Park sent the message. The reply came back quickly, and this time the aliens used more complex images. They're asking about our ship, Dr. Park said. They want to know what kind of drive we used to get here. Elena felt worried. Why were the aliens so interested in their drive? Tell them we created our own faster-than-light system. When Dr. Park sent this message, something strange happened. The alien ship stopped moving. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then dozens of new messages flooded their communication system. They seem shocked, Dr. Park said. I'm getting words like impossible and forbiddens, and something about a council. Captain Torres checked his weapon systems, but Elena stopped him. No, we don't want to start a fight. We need to learn more about these aliens. The alien ship sent another message. This time, the meaning was clear, even though the words were strange. The aliens wanted the humans to come aboard their ship. That sounds like a trap, Torres said. Elena knew he was right, but she also knew they had no choice. The alien ship was much more powerful than theirs. If the aliens wanted to hurt them, they could do it easily. I'll go, Elena said. If something happens to me, you must get back to Earth. Tell them what we learned here. I'm going with you, Torres said. You'll need protection. Elena picked 2 more team members to come with her. Before they left, she made sure Dr. Kim understood his orders. If we don't come back in 6 hours, jump back to Earth immediately, she said. Send all our data to the government and the science community. The world needs to know that our drive works and that we're not alone in the universe. Dr. Kim nodded. What about the aliens? What if they follow us to Earth? Elena looked at the huge alien ship on their screen. Then humanity will have to be ready for whatever comes next. The alien ship opened a bay door. A tunnel of light connected the 2 ships, allowing the humans to walk across empty space safely. Elena took a deep breath and stepped into the light. The inside of the alien ship was unlike anything Elena had ever seen. The walls seemed to be alive, with patterns of light moving through them. The air smelled different, like flowers that didn't exist on Earth. 3 aliens waited for them. They were tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large eyes. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of metal and cloth, woven together. One of the aliens stepped forward. When it spoke, Elena was surprised to hear words she could understand. I am Commander Zefka of the Zephyrian Empire, the alien said. We have been watching your species for many years. We thought you were primitive. We were wrong. Elena found her voice. I am Dr. Elena Vasquez. We come from Earth. We mean no harm to your people. Commander Zefka made a sound that might have been laughter, but it didn't sound happy. Harm? You have already caused more harm than you know. Your impossible journey has broken laws that have existed for 10,000 years. The Galactic Council will not be pleased. Elena didn't understand. What laws? We didn't know about any council. That is the problem, Zefka said. You were supposed to wait. All young species must wait until the council decides they are ready for the stars. But you humans, you found your own way. That should not be possible. Elena felt a mix of pride and fear. Humans had done something amazing, but it seemed they had also made powerful enemies. What happens now? She asked Commander Zefkaz. Large eyes studied her carefully. Now, Dr. Vasquez, everything changes. For your species, for the galaxy, and for the ancient order that has kept peace among the stars for thousands of years. Elena realized that their successful test had done more than prove human ingenuity. It had shaken the foundation of galactic civilization itself. As the alien ship began to move, carrying her away from the Prometheus, she could only hope that her team would make it back to Earth with their precious data. The age of human isolation was over. The age of consequences was about to begin. The great space station Nexus Prime floated in the dark between stars. It was bigger than most moons, with towers and rings that spun slowly in the emptiness. For 10,000 years, it had been the center of galactic government. Today, it buzzed. With fear and anger, in the main council chamber, representatives from dozens of worlds sat around a circular table that seemed to float in midair. Each being looked different. Some had scales, others had fur. Some breathed air, others needed special suits. But they all shared one thing. They were afraid. High Counselor Vel Thara called the emergency meeting to order. She was tall and elegant, with silver skin that glowed softly in the chamber's light. Her people, the Ethereals, had founded the Galactic Council long ago. "We face a crisis," Vel Thara said. Her voice was calm, but everyone could hear the worry in it. "The human species has achieved faster-than-light travel without our permission or guidance." A creature that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles angrily. "Impossible. No species can develop FTL technology on their own. The mathematics are too complex." "I have seen the reports," said another counselor, this one covered in blue fur. "Commander Zif Ka captured their ship. The humans used something called quantum tunneling. It's completely different from our approved FTL methods." The chamber, filled with worried sounds. Clicks, growls, musical tones, and electronic beeps all mixed together as the counselors talked among themselves. Vel Thara raised her hand for silence. "The Zephyrian commander has sent us detailed scans of the human vessel. Their technology is primitive in many ways, but their FTL drive is unique." She touched a control, and images appeared above the table. The counselors saw pictures of the human ship and its strange drive system. "They call it a quantum tunneling drive," Vel Thara continued. "Instead of folding space like our drives do, they seem to punch holes through the fabric of reality itself." An old reptilian being with golden scales spoke up. "High Counselor, remind us why this matters." "So the humans found a new way to travel. Why should we care?" The chamber became very quiet. Vel Thara looked around at all the faces watching her. Some were confused, others were starting to understand. "Counselor Sis Ezrath asks a good question," she said. "Let me explain our situation clearly." She touched another control, and the images changed. Now they showed a map of the galaxy with different colored regions. "For 10,000 years, we have controlled which species can travel between stars. We give FTL technology only to races that prove they are ready, races that follow our laws and accept our guidance." The blue-furred counselor nodded. "This system has brought peace to the galaxy. Young species stay in their home systems until they are mature enough to join us." "Yes," Vel Thara said. "But what happens when a species refuses to wait? What happens when they find their own path to the stars?" Now the counselors were starting to look scared. The insect-like being clicked nervously. "Other young species will ask questions," it said. "They will wonder why they must wait when the humans did not." "Exactly," Vel Thara said. "We have 17 species currently waiting for approval to receive FTL technology. Some have been waiting for over 200 years. What will they do when they learn that approval is not actually necessary?" The old reptilian counselor hissed. "They will rebel. They will try to develop their own FTL systems. And some might succeed," added another voice. "If primitive humans can do it, others might too." Vel Thara nodded sadly. "Our entire system of control depends on young species believing they need our help to reach the stars. The humans have proven that belief is false." A new voice spoke from the shadows at the edge of the chamber. It was ancient and cold, speaking in the old language that only the eldest races remembered. "The truth is worse than you know." All heads turned toward the voice. From the darkness stepped a figure that made even the High Counselor bow her head in respect. It was Ancient Mor Thul, one of the first Ethereals. He was so old that his silver skin had turned almost black, and his eyes glowed like dying stars. Ancient One, Belthara said formally, you honor us with your presence. Do not speak of honor, Morthul said. His voice sounded like wind through dead leaves. I come because you young fools do not understand what you have done. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the breathing sound stopped. Tell us, Ancient One, Belthara said. What have we done? Morthul moved to the center of the chamber. Where he walked, frost formed on the floor. You have built this council on lies, he said. For 10,000 years, we have told young species that they are not ready for the stars. We have said they lack the wisdom and technology to travel safely between worlds. But that's true, protested the blue-furred counselor. Look at the wars that happened before the council. Species destroying each other, planets burned, entire races extinct. Yes, Morthul said. But the real reason we control FTL technology has nothing to do with wisdom or readiness. He gestured and knew. Images appeared above the table. These were very old, showing battles between ships and the destruction of worlds. Before the council, there were dozens of advanced species. We ethereals were just one among many. But we were the first to understand something important. Whoever controls faster-than-light travel controls the galaxy. The counselors looked confused. Belthara spoke carefully. Ancient One, are you saying we created the council to maintain our power? Not just maintain it, Morthul said, to increase it. Every species that receives our FTL technology becomes dependent on us. They must follow our laws, trade with our approved partners, and accept our guidance in all matters. The insect-like being clicked in understanding. We are not keeping peace. We are preventing competition. Now you begin to see, Morthul said. The humans have done more than invent a new type of FTL drive. They have shown the galaxy that our monopoly can be broken. A young counselor from a newer species spoke up. But surely we can negotiate with the humans. We can offer them membership in the council, share our knowledge with them. Morthul's laugh was like ice breaking. Foolish child. The humans will never accept our system because they have already proven they don't need it. And once other species learn this ... revolution, whispered Belthara. Species will rebel against our control. Worse, Morthul said. They will succeed. And when they do, the ethereal dominance that has lasted 10,000 years will end. The chamber erupted in frightened voices. Some counselors demanded immediate action against the humans. Others suggested trying to make deals. A few talked about revealing the truth and reforming the system. Morthul raised his hand, and silence fell again. There is only one solution. He said, the human experiment must be ended before it spreads. Their technology must be destroyed, their scientists eliminated, and their world quarantined. You're talking about genocide, said the blue-furred counselor, sounding shocked. I am talking about survival, Morthul replied. The survival of our way of life, our power, and our species' dominant position in the galaxy. Belthara looked around the chamber. She could see the fear in every face. These beings had lived their entire lives believing they were peacekeepers and wise guides. Now they were being told they were actually oppressors. What if we offered the humans a place? On the council? She suggested. Made them partners instead of enemies? Look at their behavior, Morthul said. They developed FTL technology in secret. They tested it without asking permission. They refused to surrender their ship when confronted by Zephyrian forces. These humans do not respect authority. They will never be willing partners. He was right, and everyone knew it. The human actions showed a species that thought for itself and refused to be controlled. What are you proposing? Asked the old reptilian counselor. Total war, Morthul said simply. We mobilize the full strength of the Council fleets. We surround human space and demand they surrender their FTL technology. If they refuse, we destroy every human ship, every human station, and if necessary, every human world. The chamber was quiet, except for the sound of frightened breathing. The other young species will see what happens to those who defy us, Morthul continued. They will understand that the old ways are the only ways. And if the humans fight back, asked the counselor. With what? Morthul said. They have one type of ship and a few dozen worlds. We have thousands of species, millions of ships, and the combined knowledge of 10,000 years. The humans cannot win. Velthara knew the Ancient One was right about the military situation. But she also knew that if they destroyed the humans, they would become the very thing they claimed to protect the galaxy from, conquerors who destroyed entire species. I call for a vote, she said reluctantly. All in favor of mobilizing Council forces against the human species? One by one, hands, claws, tentacles, and other appendages rose around the chamber. Fear won over conscience. Only 3 counselors voted against the motion. The motion passes, Velthara announced. We are now at war with humanity. As the counselors filed out to prepare their fleets, Morthul remained behind. He stood in the empty chamber, looking at the images of human technology that still floated above the table. You clever little apes, he whispered. You have no idea what you have started. Far away, in human space, Dr. Elena Vasquez was still a prisoner on the Zephyrian ship. She didn't know that the most powerful beings in this... President Sarah Martinez stood in the underground command center beneath the capital city. Around her, generals, scientists, and world leaders worked frantically at their stations. 3 days had passed since the Prometheus returned to Earth. With shocking news, humans were not alone in the universe, and they had made enemies of something called the Galactic Council. Give me the latest report, President Martinez said to General Harrison, her military advisor. The production lines are working around the clock, Harrison replied. We now have 47 ships equipped with quantum tunneling drives. More are being completed every hour. Dr. Kim, who had returned with the Prometheus, looked up from his workstation. Madam President, we've also established contact with Dr. Vasquez. She's still being held by the Zephyrians, but she managed to send us technical data about their ship designs and weapons. President Martinez felt both relieved and worried. Elena was alive, but she was still a prisoner. And the information she had sent painted a grim picture of humanity's situation. What did she tell us about these aliens? The president asked. Dr. Kim activated a holographic display. Images of alien ships and stations appeared in the air above them. The Galactic Council controls thousands of species across the galaxy. He said, they've been in power for 10,000 years. They control who gets faster than light travel and who doesn't. And they're angry because we didn't ask permission, added Admiral Sarah Chun, who had been chosen to lead humanity's first. Space Fleet. President Martinez studied the alien ship designs. They were beautiful, but clearly much more advanced than human technology. What are our chances in a fight? She asked. Admiral Chun was honest. Against their individual ships? We might hold our own. Our quantum drives give us better mobility than their systems. But if they bring their full fleet against us... She didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. Humanity was badly outnumbered. However, Dr. Kim said, we do have one major advantage. Dr. Vasquez discovered that their FTL technology uses predictable jump points. They can only arrive at specific locations in each star system. Our drives can appear anywhere. President Martinez nodded. It wasn't much, but it was something. Madam President, said her communication advisor, we're receiving a transmission from deep space. It's on the same frequency the aliens used before. Put it through, the president ordered. The holographic display changed. Now it showed the image of a tall, elegant being with silver skin that seemed to glow. When it spoke, its voice was translated into perfect English. I am High Counselor Vel Farah of the Galactic Council. I am speaking to the leaders of the species called humans. President Martinez stepped forward. I am President Martinez, representing the people of Earth and all human colonies. We are listening. Your species has violated ancient laws by developing unauthorized faster-than-light technology, Vel Farah said. This cannot be allowed to continue. We didn't know about your laws, President Martinez replied. We were exploring our own solar system when we achieved this breakthrough. We meant no harm to anyone. Vel Farah's expression didn't change. Intent is irrelevant. The result is the same. Your actions threaten the stability of galactic civilization. Admiral Chun moved closer to the president. She whispered, This sounds like a setup for an ultimatum. She was right. Vel Farah continued speaking. The Galactic Council offers humanity one chance to avoid conflict. You will surrender all quantum tunneling drives and the technology to build them. Your scientists will be relocated to Council worlds where they can be properly supervised. In return, we will consider allowing your species to join the galactic community in approximately 500 years. The command center became very quiet. Everyone was waiting for the president's response. President Martinez looked around at her advisors. She saw anger, fear, and determination in their faces. These people had worked their entire lives to push humanity toward the stars. Now aliens were telling them to give up their dreams and wait 5 centuries for permission to continue. Hi, Counselor, President Martinez said. We appreciate your offer, but we must decline. Vel Farah looked surprised. You refuse? Do you understand what you are choosing? We understand perfectly, the president replied. You're asking us to give up our freedom and our future. You want us to surrender the greatest achievement in human history and trust that you'll treat us fairly 500 years from now. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years, Vel Farah said. We know how to guide young species toward wisdom and maturity. Admiral Chun stepped forward. With respect, High Counselor, we've had a chance to study your system. You don't guide species toward maturity. You keep them dependent on your technology and your approval. Vel Farah's glowing skin seemed to dim slightly. You do not understand the complexities of galactic civilization. Maybe not, President Martinez said, but we understand freedom, and we understand that no one has the right to tell an entire species that they must wait centuries for permission to explore the universe. Then you choose war, Vel Farah said. Her voice was sad but firm. No, President Martinez replied. You are choosing war. We choose to defend ourselves and our right to reach for the stars. The transmission ended. Vel Farah's image disappeared, leaving the humans alone with their decision. Well, General Harrison said after a moment, that could have gone better. Despite the serious situation, a few people chuckled. President Martinez smiled grimly. What's our status on evacuation plans? She asked. All non-essential personnel are being moved away from Earth and the major colonies, General Harrison reported. We're establishing hidden bases in asteroid fields and on small moons. If Earth falls, humanity will survive. And our new colonies? Dr. Kim answered this question. The colonization ships are almost ready. We've selected 12 star systems that our probes indicate are uninhabited. Each ship carries 10,000 people and everything needed to start a new civilization. This was part of humanity's desperate plan. If the Galactic Council wanted war, humans would make sure the war couldn't be won by simply destroying Earth. New human worlds would spring up across the galaxy, each one equipped with quantum tunneling technology. Admiral Chun, President Martinez, said, "What's the status of our fleet?" 63 ships now operational, Chun reported. They're not big, but they're fast and heavily armed. More importantly, each one carries a full technical database. Even if most of our fleet is destroyed, the survivors can rebuild. President Martinez walked to the main display, which showed a map of human space. 12 star systems, 47 planets, and about 50 billion people. It seemed so small compared to the vast galactic civilization they now faced. "Have we heard anything more from Dr. Vasquez?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," Dr. Kim said. "She managed to send another message. She says the aliens are mobilizing a huge fleet, hundreds of ships from dozens of different species. But she also said something interesting." "What?" "She's detected signs that not all council species are happy about this war. Some of the younger races seem to be questioning why they need council permission for FTL travel." This was the first good news they'd heard. If the council wasn't united, maybe humanity had a chance. "How long before their fleet arrives?" Admiral Chun asked. "Dr. Vasquez estimates 3 weeks," Dr. Kim replied. "Their ships are faster than ours over long distances, but they have to gather forces from across the galaxy." President Martinez made her decision. 3 weeks to prepare for the fight of our lives. "General Harrison, I want every available ship equipped with quantum drives. Dr. Kim, I want our colonization vessels launched immediately. Admiral Chun, I want our fleet ready for hit-and-run tactics. We can't win a straight fight, but maybe we can make this war so expensive that the council decides we're not worth the trouble." "And if we can't?" asked her chief advisor. President Martinez looked at the faces around her. These people represented the best of humanity: courage, intelligence, and an unwillingness to give up in the face of impossible odds. "Then we make sure the galaxy remembers us," she said. "We show them that humans don't surrender, even when facing impossible odds. Maybe that will inspire other species to stand up for their own freedom." Over the next 3 weeks, human space became a hive of activity. Factories worked day and night, building ships and weapons. Scientists shared their knowledge freely, making sure that quantum tunneling technology would survive even if Earth didn't. Families said goodbye as colonists launched toward distant stars. Dr. Elena Vasquez, still a prisoner on the Zephyrian ship, watched the preparations through hidden sensors. She was proud of her species' response, but terrified of what was coming. On Earth, President Martinez gave her final speech to humanity. "My fellow humans," she said, speaking to 50 billion people across dozens of worlds, we face the greatest challenge in our species' history. A galactic empire demands that we surrender our freedom and our future. They want us to accept that we are not ready for the stars." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "But we know better. We know that freedom is not something to be earned by waiting. It is something to be claimed by those brave enough to reach for it. Our ancestors left their caves to explore the world. They built ships to cross the oceans. They built rockets to reach the moon and planets." Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in her small prison cell aboard the Zephyrian ship, but she wasn't alone anymore. Across from her sat a being she had never expected to meet, a rebel. The alien looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard, with bright green feathers and intelligent golden eyes. It called itself Crixna, and it was a member of the Kepler Coalition, one of the younger species in the Galactic Council. "Your people have caused quite a stir," Crixna said in careful English. "Half the council wants to destroy you immediately. The other half wants to study your technology first." Alana studied her unexpected visitor. "And which half do you belong to?" Crixna made a sound that might have been laughter. "Neither. My people belong to a third group, that most of the Council doesn't know exists. We want your technology for ourselves." This was not what Elena had expected. "You want to steal our quantum drive?" "Not steal," Krixna corrected. "Learn, share, use it to free ourselves from the Council's control." Elena felt her heart beat faster. "You're rebels?" "We prefer the term liberation movement," Krixna said. "There are dozens of species who are tired of waiting for the Council's permission to explore the galaxy. Your success has shown us that we don't need to wait." Elena looked around the cell, wondering if this was some kind of trick. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because, Dr. Vasquez, your species is about to face the full might of the Council fleets. You will lose that fight. But if you share your technology with us before that happens, your defeat might still lead to victory." Elena was quiet for a long moment. She thought about President Martinez and Admiral Chun, preparing Earth's defenses against impossible odds. She thought about the colonization ships flying toward distant stars, carrying humanity's hope for survival. "What exactly are you proposing?" She asked. Krixna leaned closer. "Help us build quantum tunneling drives. In return, we'll help your people survive the coming war. We can't prevent the Council from attacking you, but we can make sure you're not fighting alone." Before Elena could respond, the cell door opened. Commander Zefka entered, his tall figure filling the doorway. "Counselor Krixna," he said coldly, "you were not authorized to speak with the prisoner." Krixna stood up, showing no fear. "I have every right to interview prisoners taken in my sector of space, Commander." Elena watched the tension between the two aliens. It was clear that not. Everyone in the Council agreed with each other. "The prisoner is under Zephyrian custody," Zefka said. "Any interviews must be approved by my superiors." "Then perhaps," Krixna said smoothly, "you should contact your superiors. I believe they will be very interested in what the human has told me about her species' plans for galactic expansion." It was a lie, but Elena recognized a rescue attempt when she saw one. She decided to play along. "Yes," she said, "my government has many contingency plans, plans that the Council should know about." Commander Zefka looked between Elena and Krixna suspiciously. "What plans?" Elena thought quickly. "I can only discuss them with a full Council representative, someone with the authority to negotiate." This put Zefka in a difficult position. If Elena really had important information, he needed to report. But he didn't want to give up his valuable prisoner. "I will contact High Command," he said finally. "In the meantime, the prisoner remains in my custody." After Zefka left, Krixna made a gesture that Elena somehow understood meant, "Be ready." Meanwhile, in human space, the war had begun. Admiral Chun watched from the bridge of her flagship as Council ships emerged from their jump points near the outer planets of the Sol system. There were more than she had expected. "Count?" she asked her tactical officer. 237. "Ships, Admiral. Multiple species. They're arranging themselves in standard Council battle formation." Chun nodded. The Council clearly expected this to be a quick fight. They were about to learn otherwise. "All ships," she broadcast to her fleet, "remember the plan. Hit and run. Never engage their main force directly. Make them chase us." The first human ship to engage was the destroyer Defiance. It appeared suddenly behind a group of alien cruisers, fired a full spread of missiles, then vanished into quantum space before the enemy could respond. 3 alien ships were damaged. The aliens were confused and angry. "They're trying to surround the system," Chun's tactical officer reported. "Standard containment pattern. Perfect," Chun said. "Let them waste time setting up their blockade. Fire Team Alpha, hit their supply ships. Fire Team Beta, attack their communications relay. Make them think we're everywhere at once." The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before the enemy could fight back. The alien superior firepower was useless if they couldn't hit their targets. But Admiral Chun knew this was just the beginning. The real war would be won or lost in the hidden places of the galaxy, where other species decided whether to support the Council or join humanity's rebellion. On a small moon in the Rigel system, Dr. Kim worked frantically in a secret laboratory. Around him, engineers from 3 different species studied quantum drive blueprints that Elena Vasquez had managed to transmit before her capture. The principle is simple, Dr. Kim explained to his mixed audience. Instead of folding space, we create a temporary tunnel through it. The energy requirements are much lower than traditional FTL drives. A spider-like being called Vecmore raised one of its 8 arms. Our mathematics indicate this should be impossible. The quantum equations don't balance. That's because you've been using Council mathematics, said another voice. Everyone turned to see Krixna enter the laboratory. The bird-like alien looked tired but excited. I've just returned from the Zephyrian ship, Krixna announced. Dr. Vasquez has agreed to help us. But we need to move quickly. The Council is planning to execute her as soon as they finish studying her ship. Dr. Kim felt cold fear. Elena was his friend and colleague. He couldn't let her die. What do you need us to do? He asked. First, we need to build working quantum drives for our ships, Krixna said. Second, we need to rescue Dr. Vasquez before the Council kills her. Third, we need to coordinate our rebellion with your people's military actions. It sounded impossible, but Dr. Kim had learned not to use that word around humans. How many species are part of your rebellion? He asked. 17 so far, Krixna replied. Not all of them are ready to fight openly, but they're willing to share intelligence and provide supplies. More importantly, we represent over 200 billion beings who are tired of Council control. Dr. Kim realized the scale of what was happening. This wasn't just a war between humanity and the Galactic Council. It was a galactic civil war, with humanity as the spark that started the fire. Over the next few weeks, the secret alliance grew stronger. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to adapt quantum tunneling technology to different ship designs. Rebel species provided safe harbors for human colonization ships. Intelligence flowed back and forth, allowing both sides to stay ahead of Council military actions. The Council's response was predictable and brutal. They increased patrols in all systems containing rebel species. They demanded absolute loyalty from their member civilizations. They began treating any questioning of Council policy as treason. This only made more species join the rebellion. Dr. Elena Vasquez, still a prisoner, but now working with her captors, sent a message to Earth that would change everything. The Council is not as united as they pretend, her message said. Ancient Morthul and the oldest ethereals want to destroy all rebel species completely. But many younger Council members are horrified by this plan. Some are even beginning to question whether the Council system is just. She paused, and added the most important part. There's going to be a split in the Council. When it happens, we need to be ready to offer an alternative. Not just human technology, but a new way of organizing galactic civilization. One based on cooperation instead of control. President Martinez read this message in her command bunker as Council ships continued their assault on human space. Despite the desperate military situation, she felt hope growing in her chest. General Harrison, she said, I want you to send a message to all rebel species. Tell them that when this war is over, humanity proposes creating a new galactic alliance. One where every species has an equal voice and no one needs permission to explore the stars. Ma'am, Harrison said carefully, we're not exactly winning. This war, maybe we shouldn't make promises about what happens after. President Martinez smiled, and Harrison was reminded why she had been elected leader of the human government. "General," she said, "we're not just fighting for humanity's survival. We're fighting for the principle that no species should be told. It's not ready for freedom. That's a fight worth having, even if we lose." But as reports came in from across the galaxy, it was becoming clear that humanity might not lose after all. Rebel species were attacking Council installations. Traditional Council allies were questioning their loyalty. And most importantly, the Council's own member species were beginning to demand answers about why they needed permission to build better ships or explore new territories. The war that the Council thought would be a quick demonstration of power was turning into something much more dangerous, a revolution that questioned the very foundation of their 10,000-year reign. The space around Nexus Prime had never seen so many ships. Thousands of vessels filled the darkness, but they were not all on the same side. The great space station that had been the center of galactic government for 10,000 years was now surrounded by two fleets preparing for the final battle of the war. Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Elena Vasquez, named after the brave scientist who had started this revolution. Around her, the combined fleet of the Free Species Alliance waited for her orders. "Status report," she said calmly. 412 ships ready for battle, her tactical officer reported. Human vessels, Kepler Coalition fighters hive, world defenders, and ships from 23 other species. Chun nodded. It was smaller than the Council fleet, but these ships carried something the enemy lacked, the determination of beings fighting for their freedom. "Any word from the rescue mission?" she asked. "Captain Torres reports success," came the reply. "Dr. Vasquez is free and safely aboard the Prometheus." Chun smiled. Elena was alive and safe. That was something to fight for. On the other side of the battle zone, High Counselor Vel Thara looked out at the rebel fleet with a mixture of anger and sadness. In the months since the war began, 17 Council species had openly joined the rebellion. Many others were questioning their loyalty. "Ancient, Morthul demands to speak with you," her aide reported. V.E. Lothara sighed. The ancient ethereal had become increasingly angry as the war continued. His solution to every problem was more violence, more destruction. Morthul's image peered on the bridge's main screen. His ancient face was twisted with rage. "This has gone on long enough," he said. "Order the fleet to destroy every rebel ship. Show the galaxy what happens to those who defy us." "Ancient One," Valthara said carefully, "we are already losing support among our own members. If we massacre the rebels, more species will turn against us. Then we destroy them too." Morthul shouted. "Better to rule a smaller galaxy than to lose control completely." Valthara looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. She saw doubt in their eyes. Even her own people were beginning to question whether this war was right. "I will not order the destruction of entire species," she said firmly. "There must be another way." Morthul's eyes glowed with cold fire. "Then you are weak. Step aside and let others do what must be done." The transmission ended, and Velthara realized that the Council was splitting apart. The oldest and most conservative members wanted to destroy anyone who challenged them. But many younger species were beginning to see that the rebels had a point. Dr. Elena Vasquez was finally free, standing on the bridge of her old ship with Captain Torres and the crew who had rescued her. She looked out at the massive battle fleets and felt both pride and fear. "Are we really going to fight all of them?" she asked Torres. "If we have to," he replied. "But maybe we won't have to." Elena understood what he meant. Intelligence reports suggested that the Council fleet was not united. Many ships were there only because their governments had ordered them to fight. The crews themselves were not sure this war was right. Incoming transmission. announced the communications officer. "It's Admiral Chun." Chun's image appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. "Elena," she said, "we need you to make a broadcast. Not to our fleet, but to theirs. Tell them what you learned during your captivity. Help them understand what this war is really about." Elena nodded. This was her chance to end the fighting without more bloodshed. A few minutes later, her voice was being transmitted to every ship in both fleets. "My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez," she began. 6 months ago, I was part of a team that achieved humanity's first faster-than-light jump. We thought we were exploring empty space. Instead, we discovered that we live in a galaxy full of intelligent life. She paused, looking at the camera that would carry her words to thousands of different species. "I spent months as a prisoner of the Galactic Council. During that time, I learned the truth about your government. For 10,000 years, you have been told that the Council exists to maintain peace and guide young species toward wisdom. But that is not the whole truth. On Council ships throughout the fleet, crews gathered around their communication screens. Many had never heard a human speak before. The Council does not guide species toward maturity," Elena continued. "It keeps them dependent. It prevents them from developing their own technology, exploring their own paths, and making their own choices about their future." Her voice grew stronger. "The Council's leaders told me that my species was too primitive to travel between stars. They said we lacked the wisdom to join galactic civilization. But we proved them wrong. We found our own path to the stars, and it worked better than theirs." She gestured toward the human ships. "Look at our vessels. They are small and simple, compared to yours. But they can appear anywhere in space without warning. They don't need your jump points or your navigation systems. We built them ourselves, using our own knowledge and our own creativity." On the Council flagship, Vel Farah watched the broadcast with growing unease. Elena's words were having an effect. On the fleet, ships were moving out of formation, their crews talking among themselves. "The question you must ask yourselves," Elena said, "is not whether humans deserve to travel between stars. The question is whether any species should need permission to explore the universe." She looked directly into the camera. "Your own species were once young and curious, just like mine. You wanted to see what was beyond your home worlds. You built ships and reached for distant stars. But somewhere along the way, you accepted that other species should not have the same freedom you claimed for yourselves." The effect on the Council fleet was immediate. Ships began breaking formation. Some turned away from the battle zone entirely. Others simply stopped advancing. Ancient Morthul's voice rang out across the Council command frequency. "Ignore the human propaganda. All ships attack immediately. Destroy the rebels." But instead of obeying, many Council ships began transmitting their own messages. "This is Captain Hesrau of the Centaurian vessel Starseeker," came one voice. "My crew refuses to fire on beings who only want the same freedom we enjoy." "Delphinian, ship Wave Rider standing down," came another. "We did not join the Council to prevent other species from reaching the stars." Within minutes, nearly half the Council fleet had refused orders to attack. Velthara realized that the war was over, even if the fighting hadn't stopped. But Morthul was not finished. The ancient Ethereal had prepared for this possibility. Deep within Nexus Prime, he activated weapons that had been hidden for thousands of years. Massive energy beams lanced out from the space station, striking ships from both fleets. The beams could disable any vessel's FTL drive, stranding it in normal space. "Attention all ships," Morthul's voice boomed across space. "You will surrender to ethereal authority, or you will be destroyed." But he had made a crucial mistake. The beams were designed to work on traditional FTL drives. They had no effect on quantum tunneling systems, Admiral. Chun smiled as her human ships continued to move freely while the alien vessels were trapped. All human ships, she broadcast, protect the disabled vessels. Show the galaxy that we fight to free people, not to conquer them. The human fleet spread out, using their quantum drives to shield the paralyzed alien ships from Nexus Prime's weapons. It was a gesture that would be remembered for generations. Dr. Vasquez made one final broadcast. Ancient Morthul, she said, your weapons prove our point. The Council rules through fear and force, not wisdom and cooperation. But your time is ending. She gestured toward the mixed fleet of human and alien ships working together to protect each other. Look around you. Dozens of species are choosing cooperation over control. They are choosing freedom over safety. They are choosing to trust each other rather than submit to your authority. Her voice grew gentle. This is not about humans conquering the galaxy. This is about all species working together as equals. Number. One needs permission to explore the universe. No one needs approval to build better ships or discover new technologies. And no one should have to wait centuries for the right to reach for the stars. The battle of Nexus Prime ended not with explosions and destruction, but with thousands of ships from dozens of species joining together in a new alliance. Ancient Morthul's weapons fell silent as his own people refused to operate them. High Counselor Velthara surprised everyone by requesting permission to come aboard Admiral Chan's flagship. I want to discuss terms, she said when she arrived. Not surrender terms, but partnership terms. Chan looked at the elegant alien leader who had once represented humanity's enemies. What kind of partnership? She asked. The kind Dr. Vasquez described, Velthara replied. A galaxy where species work together instead of some ruling over others, where technology is shared instead of hoarded, where young civilizations are helped to grow instead of kept dependent. Elena, who was present for the meeting, spoke carefully. What? About the ancient ethereals? What about those who still believe in the old system? Velthara was quiet for a moment. They will have to adapt or be left behind, she said finally. The galaxy has changed. Your species changed it. There is no going back to the way things were. Over the following months, the transformation of galactic civilization. Ambassador Chun Wei walked into the giant meeting hall. His small human shoes made soft sounds on the smooth metal floor. Above him, the ceiling stretched up so high he could barely see it. The room was built for aliens, not humans. Everything was too big, too bright, too cold. Chun took his seat at the very back of the room. It was a small chair, much smaller than all the others. The other ambassadors looked down at him from their tall seats. Some had 4 arms. Others had skin, like rocks. A few had eyes that glowed in the dark. They were all much bigger than Chun. The meeting started like it always did. The Galactic Council talked about trade. They talked about new planets. They talked about wars far away. Chun listened and took notes. That was his job. Listen and take notes. Then High Counselor Vexthen stood up. He was tall and thin like a tree. His skin was blue and covered in scales. When he spoke, his voice was deep and cold. We need to talk about the human problem, Vexthen said. Chun looked up from his notes. His heart started beating faster. What problem? The humans are getting too comfortable, Vexthen continued. They forget their place in our galaxy. They think they can ask for the same rights as real civilized species. Other council members nodded. The Altarian ambassador, who looked like a giant bug, clicked his mouthparts. Yes, yes. The humans are too emotional, too violent. They get angry over small things. Chan wanted to stand up and speak, but he knew better. Humans were not allowed to interrupt council meetings. I have a solution, Vexthen said. He pressed a button on his desk. A big screen showed a map of human space. Red marks appeared on many planets. We will move human colonies from their good worlds to these harder worlds. Worlds with bad weather. Worlds with dangerous animals. Worlds that are hard to live on. Chun felt his hands start to shake. Those red marks were on planets where millions of humans lived. Good planets where children played in safe parks. Planets where old people sat in the sun and smiled. We will also cut their supplies, said another council member. This one looked like a walking tree with too many arms. Less food, less medicine, less fuel for their ships. They need to learn discipline. But sir, Chun said quietly. He stood up slowly. Those are families on those worlds. Children and old people. They have done nothing wrong. All the alien eyes turned to look at him. The room became very quiet. Chun felt very small and very alone. Vexed, and his eyes glowed brighter. Ambassador Chun, you prove my point perfectly. Look how emotional you get. This is why humans cannot be trusted with important decisions. We are not emotional, Chun said. His voice was still quiet, but it was getting stronger. We are careful. We think about our people because we care about them. Caring is weakness, said the bug-like Altarian. Real civilized species make decisions with logic, not feelings. Vexthan smiled, showing sharp teeth. Your species has been useful to us, Ambassador Chun. You are good workers. You can lift heavy things. You can go to dangerous places where we do not want to go. You can fight in wars we do not want to fight ourselves. Chun's hands were shaking more now, not from fear, from something else. But you must remember your place, Vexthan continued. You are new to space. We have been traveling between stars for thousands of years while your people were still hitting rocks together. You lacked the evolution needed for true civilization. The other council members made sounds of agreement. Clicks and hisses and deep rumbles. You are driven by basic emotions, Vexthan said. Especially this primitive response you call anger. Perhaps living on harder worlds will teach you to control yourselves better. Chun looked around the room. Every single alien was nodding. Every single one agreed that humans should be punished. Not for doing something wrong, but just for being human. I request a vote delay, Chun said. Please let me speak to my government first. No, Vexthan said quickly. We vote no. All in favor of moving human colonies and cutting their supplies? One by one, every alien in the room raised their hand or tentacle or claw. Every single one. Not one vote against the plan. Not one voice. To speak for humans, Chun watched as his species was voted into suffering. He watched as aliens who had never visited a human world decided to make human children go hungry. He watched as beings who called themselves civilized chose to be cruel. The vote was done. It was law now. The human relocations will begin in 30 days, Vexthan announced. Their supply cuts start immediately. Meeting ended. The aliens began to leave. They talked to each other about other things now. About dinner plans. About the weather on their home worlds. They had already forgotten about the humans they had just condemned. Chun sat alone in his small chair for a long time. The giant room became empty and quiet. His hands had stopped shaking, but something else had started inside him. Something hot and bright and growing. He took out his communication device. It was small and looked like a simple message pad. The aliens thought it could only send basic text messages. They were wrong about that too. Chun typed a short message. His fingers were steady now. Very steady. Message to Earth Defense Command. Priority Alpha. They want to see what happens when we get angry. Request permission to show them. He looked at the message for a moment, then he added one more line. Authorization requested for angry protocol. Chun pressed send. The message disappeared into space, traveling faster than light toward Earth, toward home, toward people who would understand what those words meant. He stood up and walked toward the door. His footsteps echoed in the empty room. As he reached the exit, he stopped and looked back at the council seats, at the place where aliens had decided humans were not good enough to be treated fairly. "You have no idea what you just did," Chon said to the empty room. His voice was quiet, but there was something new in it. Something the aliens had never heard from him before. Something that should have scared them, but they were not there to hear it. They were already gone, thinking about other things. Already forgetting about the humans they had just pushed too far. Chun walked out of the council chambers. Behind him, the lights slowly dimmed until the room was dark and silent. In 36 hours. Earth's reply would arrive. In 37 hours. The galaxy would begin to learn what happens when humans get angry. But they did not know that yet. Right now, they thought they had won. Right now, they thought humans would just accept their fate quietly. They were wrong about that too. Admiral Sarah Knox stood on the bridge of the USV Defiance. Through the big windows, she could see Earth spinning slowly below them. Blue oceans and white clouds and brown continents. Home. Her communication officer turned to face her. "Admiral, we have a priority alpha message from Ambassador Chun." Sarah's stomach dropped. Priority alpha meant the worst possible news. She had been expecting this message for years, but hoping it would never come. "Put it on my screen," she said. The message was short. Sarah read it twice to make sure she understood. Then she read it a third time. Each time, the words made her more angry. "Get me the Defense Council," she ordered. "Emergency meeting, now." Within an hour, 5 people sat around a metal table in a secret room deep inside the Defiance. These 5 people knew secrets that could change the galaxy. They had been keeping those secrets for 30 years. General Marcus Park spoke first. He was old now, with gray hair and lines on his face. But his eyes were still sharp. The aliens finally did it. They pushed too far. "The vote was unanimous," Sarah said. "Every species in the council agreed to relocate our colonies and cut our supplies. They want to put our children on death worlds and watch them suffer." Dr. Lisa Chun, no relation to the ambassador, looked at her tablet. "The colony ships they want to move hold 12 million people. Families, schools, hospitals. They want us to abandon everything and move to planets where half of them will die in the first year." Colonel James Wright slammed his fist on the table. 30 years. 30 years we have been playing their game, pretending to be weak, letting them think we are just good for manual labor and dying in their wars. The 5th person at the table said nothing. Director Maria Santos ran the most secret department in human space. Her department did not officially exist, but everyone in the room knew what she did. "Maria," Sarah said quietly, "is everything ready?" Maria finally looked up from her own tablet. She smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting a very long time for this moment. "We have been ready for 15 years, she said. "Every human colony has been secretly preparing. Every mining station, every research facility, every trade post. The aliens think they know what we have been doing out there. They are wrong." Sarah nodded. "Then we all agree? We activate the angry protocol?" One by one, each person at the table said yes. It was unanimous, just like the alien vote had been. But this vote was very different. "Send the activation codes," Sarah ordered. Across human space, people received messages on their personal devices. Short messages that looked like reminders about work schedules or family birthdays. Messages that meant nothing to anyone watching. But every human knew what they really meant. On New Terra Colony, Farmer John Blake was working in his wheat fields when his device beeped. He read the message and smiled. Then he walked to his barn and pressed his hand against a hidden panel. The barn floor opened up. Below was not storage for farm equipment. Below were weapons that could destroy a battleship. On Kepler Station, Dr. Amanda Foster was teaching alien children about human culture. She seemed like a gentle teacher who loved books and art. When her device beeped, she calmly finished her lesson and sent the children home. Then she went to her office and opened a secret drawer. Inside was not lesson plans or art supplies. Inside were codes for the fusion bombs hidden in the station's foundation. On the mining asteroid Series 7, workers were loading ore into transport ships. The aliens thought the humans were just good at moving heavy rocks. They did not know that the humans had been slowly hollowing out the asteroid for 20 years. They did not know that Series 7 was now a giant kinetic weapon aimed at the nearest. Alien Fleet Base. Captain Rodriguez received his message while eating dinner with his family. He kissed his wife and children goodnight, then went to his study. He opened his safe and took out a uniform that was not the simple blue uniform of a merchant captain. This uniform was black with silver stars, the uniform of the Shadow Fleet, all. Across the galaxy, humans were taking off their masks. Sarah Knox watched the reports come in from her secret network. Agricultural Station 7 reports, ready for harvest, meant that fusion cannons were online. Mining Operation 12 requests new equipment meant that mass drivers were loaded and targeted. Research Facility 3 has completed their study, meant that experimental weapons were armed and ready. The aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans were simple. They thought humans were new to space and did not understand how to fight a real war. They thought wrong. For 30 years, humans had been building a secret military. Not just ships and weapons, though they had those too. They had been building something much more dangerous. They had been building a plan. Phase 1 is complete, Maria reported. All assets are in position. All personnel are ready. All targets are identified. Sarah looked out the window at Earth one more time. Her home, the home of every human in the galaxy. The place the aliens wanted to see suffer. The aliens asked for this, she said. They voted to hurt our people. Every single one of them agreed that humans deserve to be treated like animals. She turned to face the others. They wanted to know what happens when we get angry. I think it is time to show them. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew what came next. Everyone knew there would be no going back after this. Send the message to all stations, Sarah ordered. Begin Phase 2. Show them what happens when we are angry. Across the galaxy, humans began to move. Not the slow, careful movements of workers and farmers and teachers. The fast, precise movements of soldiers who had been planning this moment. For decades, on trade stations, human technicians began shutting down power systems. Just temporary maintenance, they told the aliens. Nothing to worry about. On mining worlds, human workers started having accidents with their equipment. Oops, sorry, they said as communication arrays exploded. We will fix that soon. On research stations, human scientists began having problems with their experiments. Strange energy readings, they explained as defense shields went offline. Very mysterious. The aliens did not understand what was happening yet. They thought humans were just being clumsy. They thought humans were having a run of bad luck. They did not realize that the bad luck was about to become much worse. In her secret command center, Maria Santos watched dozens of screens showing the galaxy. Red dots marked alien military bases. Blue dots marked alien trade centers. Yellow dots marked alien government buildings. All of the dots had humans working nearby. Humans who had been waiting for this day. Humans who were no longer pretending to be harmless. All teams report ready. Her assistant said. Maria nodded. Then let us begin. Send the signal. A single message went out to every human in the galaxy. Just 2 words, but they meant everything. Be angry. And across the stars, 12 billion humans stopped pretending to be weak. Captain Maria Santos flew her ship toward Proxima Station. Behind her followed 20 other ships. To anyone watching, they looked like normal cargo vessels bringing food and supplies to the big alien trade station. The ships were not carrying food. Maria looked at the station through her front window. It was huge, bigger than most cities. Millions of aliens lived and worked there. The station made more money in one day than most planets made in a year. It belonged to High Counselor Vexthan's family. The same alien who had called humans primitive. The same alien who wanted to move human children to death worlds. All ships, this is Captain Santos, Maria said into her radio. Remember, we are not here to kill everyone. We are here to send a message. But if they fight us, we fight back harder. 20 voices answered her. Yes, Captain. Maria's ship was called the Lucky Strike. For 15 years, aliens had watched it carry grain and medicine between human colonies. They thought it was slow and harmless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Lucky Strike began to change. Parts of the hull slid away, showing weapon ports underneath. The cargo containers on its back opened up, revealing missile tubes and energy cannons. The ship's engines, which had always seemed weak, suddenly blazed with new power. All around her, the other ships were changing too. Fake hull plates fell away. Hidden weapons emerged. Ships that had looked old and slow now moved like hunting sharks. This is Proxima Control, came a voice over the radio. The alien sounded confused. Unknown vessels, you are not on our landing. Schedule. Please identify yourselves and state your business. Maria smiled. This is Captain Santos of the Human Defense Force. Our business is showing you what happens when we are angry. There was silence from Proxima Control. Then alarms started ringing. The station's defense systems came online. Gun turrets turned toward the human ships. Energy shields powered up. Interceptor fighters launched from hidden bays. Hostile vessels. This is Admiral Kextar of the Altarian Defense Fleet, came a new voice. You are outnumbered 50-1. Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly. Maria looked at her tactical display. The alien was right. 50 alien ships against 20 human ships. On paper, the humans should lose badly. Admiral Kextar. Maria replied, We appreciate the warning. But you should know something about humans. We do not fight fair. The first alien ship opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot toward the Lucky Strike. Maria watched them come and did not try to dodge. The energy beams hit her ship's shields and bounced off harmlessly. The aliens had built those beams to fight other aliens. They had never seen human shield technology. Return fire, Maria ordered. The Lucky Strike fired a single shot, not an energy beam like the aliens used. This was something new, something the humans had been working on in secret for 20 years. The shot looked like a small star. It flew across space and touched the alien ship's hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien ship began to dissolve. Not explode. Dissolve. Its metal hull turned to dust. Its weapons melted away. Its engines stopped working. The alien crew had 30 seconds to get to escape pods before their ship ceased to exist. What was that? Admiral Kextar screamed over the radio. What weapon was that? That was us being nice, Maria said. Your crew is still alive. Next time we might not be so gentle. But the aliens did not understand the warning. More ships opened. Fire on the humans. Energy beams and missiles filled the space around Proxima Station. The human ships moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. They twisted and spun and danced between the enemy shots. When weapons did hit them, their shields held strong. Commander Jackson, flying the ship next of kin, found himself surrounded by 5 alien fighters. The fighters were fast and well armed. In a normal fight, they would have destroyed him easily. Jackson did something the alien pilots did not expect. He flew straight at the nearest fighter and rammed it. But just before impact, his ship split in half. The 2 pieces flew past the fighter on both sides, then came back together behind it. The confused alien pilot tried to turn around, but Jackson's weapons were already firing. Lieutenant Park, commanding the angry farmer, was taking heavy fire from an alien cruiser. Her weapons were not strong enough to break through its thick armor dot, so she stopped trying to break through the armor. Instead, she flew close to the enemy ship and attached something to its hull. A small device that looked harmless. The device was a mining charge designed to break apart asteroids. But humans had learned that mining charges worked just as well on spaceship hulls. The alien cruiser split in half. All around Proxima Station, the space battle raged. But it was not really a battle. It was a lesson. The humans were teaching the aliens that everything they thought they knew about human warfare was wrong. When human ships took damage, they did not retreat for repairs. Instead, they used the damaged parts as weapons. Commander Lee's ship lost its main cannon, so he fired the broken cannon at an enemy ship like a giant bullet. When human ships ran out of missiles, they started shooting cargo containers at the enemy. The containers were full of metal scraps and industrial tools. They hit alien ships like giant shotgun blasts. When human ships were outnumbered, they did not try to fight fair. Captain Torres found himself facing 10 enemy ships at once. So he flew into the middle of them and activated his ship's emergency beacon. The beacon was supposed to call for help, but Torres had modified it. Instead of calling for help, it sent out a signal that made all the alien ships' computers think they were shooting at each other. The 10 alien ships destroyed each other while Torres watched. Admiral Kekstar could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet was one of the best in the galaxy. His ships had the most advanced weapons and the strongest armor. His pilots were trained from childhood to fight in space, and they were losing to cargo ships flown by. Humans, all ships, retreat to minimum safe distance, he ordered. Request immediate reinforcements from Altarian Command. But the humans were not done with their lesson. Admiral Kekstar, Maria's voice came over the radio again. We are not here to destroy your fleet. We are here to destroy this station. You can leave now, or you can stay and watch. Your choice. You cannot destroy Proxima Station, Kekstar replied. It has the strongest defenses in this sector. Its shields can withstand anything. Can they withstand this? Maria asked. The lucky strike fired again, but this shot was different. It was not aimed at the station's hull or weapons. It was aimed at empty space, right next to the station. The shot hit nothing and seemed to disappear, and space itself began to tear. A hole opened in reality. Through the hole, Kekstar could see something impossible. He could see the inside of the station's main reactor room. Portal technology, Maria explained calmly. We learned it from studying your own gate systems, but we made some improvements. Through the portal, the humans fired a single small missile. It flew through the tier in space and exploded inside the station's reactor. The reactor did not explode. Instead, it shut down safely, protecting the millions of people on the station. But without power, the station's weapons went offline. Its shields failed. Its life support switched to emergency backup. Station is secure, Maria announced. No casualties reported. All weapon systems disabled. Admiral Kekstar stared at his tactical display. In less than 1 hour, 20 human cargo ships had defeated his entire fleet and captured the most important trade station in the sector, and they had done it without killing anyone. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No, Admiral," Maria's voice came over the radio one last time. "This is what happens when humans get angry. But we are not angry at your people. We are angry at your leaders, the ones who voted to hurt our families." She paused, letting that sink in. "Tell your High Counselor that his station is ours now. Tell him that his trade routes are closed. And tell him this is just the beginning." The human ships formed up around Proxima Station like guards. More human vessels were coming, bringing soldiers and engineers to take control of the facility. Admiral Kekstar ordered his remaining ships to retreat. As they flew away, he sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. The humans were not what they seemed. They were not primitive workers who could be pushed around. They were something much more dangerous, and now they were angry. High Counselor Vexton stood in the emergency council chambers. Around him, holographic images showed disasters from across the galaxy. Trade stations going dark, communication networks failing, transport ships disappearing. "How many stations have we lost?" he asked. 47 in the last 6 hours, replied his aide, a nervous Altarian with shaking hands. "But sir, they are not destroying them. They are capturing them, and they are not hurting the people inside." Vexton's scales turned a darker blue. That was worse than destruction. It meant the humans had a plan. The council chamber filled with alien leaders from across the galaxy. They appeared as holograms, broadcasting from their home worlds. All of them looked scared. "This is unacceptable," said Chancellor Morks of the Centauri Republic. His 4 arms waved angrily. "The humans have attacked 32 of our facilities. Our economy is crashing." "They hit us too," added Prime Minister Yex of the Vegan Systems. Her rock-like skin was glowing red with fury. "Every human worker in our space disappeared at the same time. Our factories have stopped working. Our ships cannot fly without human technicians." Vex then felt cold fear in his stomach. "What do? You mean they disappeared?" "Gone," Yex said. "All of them. In one day, every human in vegan space just vanished. They left their jobs, their homes, everything. Our security cameras show them walking calmly to hidden ships we never knew existed." Another council member spoke up. "The same thing happened to us. 3 million human workers, gone overnight. They took nothing with them, but somehow they had ships waiting for them. Ships that appeared out of nowhere." Admiral Knox's face appeared on the main screen. She was broadcasting from her flagship, somewhere in space. Behind her, Vexton could see stars he did not recognize. "High Counselor Vexton," Admiral Knox said politely, "I believe you wanted to speak with us about our behavior." "You have attacked innocent civilians," Vexton said, trying to sound angry instead of scared. "You have broken galactic law. You have committed acts of war against peaceful species." Admiral Knox smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Peaceful species? Is that what you call yourselves after voting to move our children to death worlds?" "That was a legal council decision," Vexton replied, "made for the good of galactic stability." "Let me tell you about stability," Admiral Knox said. Her voice was calm, but there was something dangerous underneath it. "For 30 years, humans have been the backbone of your economy. We run your factories. We fix your ships. We mine your metals. We fight your wars." The screen changed to show images from across the galaxy. Empty factories. Dark space stations. Ships floating dead in space. "This is what your economy looks like without humans," Admiral Knox continued. "This is what happens when the people you call primitive decide to stop working for you. You cannot do this. Chancellor Morks shouted. Billions of people depend on those facilities. Without them, whole planets will starve. Then you should have thought of that before voting to make our people starve. Admiral Knox replied. Vex then tried a different approach. What do you want? We can negotiate. We can find a solution that works for everyone. Can you? Admiral Knox asked. Because yesterday, every single species in your council voted to punish humans for the crime of existing. Not one of you spoke for us. Not one of you said we deserve to be treated fairly. The screen changed again. Now it showed the human colonies that the council had voted to relocate. Children playing in parks. Families eating dinner together. Old people sitting in gardens. You voted to take these people from their homes, Admiral Knox said. You voted to send them to worlds where half would die in the first year. You voted to cut off their food and medicine and fuel. Her voice got harder. You voted to commit genocide, and you called it civilization. We were trying to maintain order, Vexton said weakly. Were you? Admiral Knox asked. Or were you afraid that humans might want to be treated as equals instead of as useful animals? The other council members began arguing among themselves. Some wanted to send their fleets to attack human space. Others wanted to negotiate. A few quietly suggested maybe they should give the humans what they wanted. Admiral Knox watched them argue for a moment. Then she held up her hand, and somehow all the aliens fell silent. Let me save you some time, she said. Your fleets cannot reach human space. We have been preparing for this day for 30 years. Every major hyperspace route is blocked by our ships. Every jump gate is under our control. The screen showed images of massive human fleets guarding the space lanes. Ships that none of the aliens had ever seen before. Ships that looked nothing like the cargo vessels they thought humans flew. But more importantly, Admiral Knox continued, we do not want to destroy you. We want you to understand something about human anger. She paused, looking directly at each council member. We are not angry because you are strong. We are not angry because you are successful. We are angry because you used your strength to hurt people who could not fight back. The screen showed more images. Human children on the colonies that were supposed to be relocated. Human workers who had been treated badly by alien bosses. Human soldiers who had died in alien wars. This is what happens when we get angry, Admiral Knox said. We do not just break things. We do not just hurt people. We remake the rules so that no one can be hurt the same way again. What does that mean? Vex then asked. Admiral Knox smiled. Again, this time it was not as scary. It means we are going to fix your civilization. The screen changed one more time. Now it showed a document. A new galactic constitution with signatures from every human colony. These are our terms, Admiral Knox said. Complete reorganization of the Galactic Council. Every species gets equal representation, no matter how old or young their civilization is. No species can be classified as primitive or useful. No species can be relocated against their will. Vex then read the document quickly. This would change everything. Our entire system of government. Yes, Admiral Knox agreed. Your system of government that allows you to vote for genocide because you think some species are worth less than others. And if we refuse? Chancellor Morks asked. Admiral Knox's smile disappeared. Then you get to see what happens when we stop being nice. The screen showed something that made all the aliens gasp. A human ship appeared next to a small moon. The ship fired once. The moon cracked in half like an egg. That was our weakest weapon, Admiral Knox said calmly. We have weapons that can make stars go out. We have weapons that can turn planets into dust. We have weapons that can reach through dimensions and attack targets we have never seen. She leaned forward. But we do not want to use them. We want to live in peace with you. We want to trade with you and learn from you and explore the galaxy together. Then why are you threatening us? Vex then asked. Because 30 years ago, we tried asking nicely, Admiral Knox replied. We asked to be treated fairly. We asked for equal rights. We asked to be seen as people instead of tools. Her voice got sad, and you said no. Over and over again, you said no. Until yesterday, when you decided that asking was a crime that deserved punishment. The alien council members looked at each other. Some still wanted to fight, but most were beginning to understand that fighting was not an option. How do we know you will keep your word? Asked Prime Minister Yex. How do we know you will not? Just conquer us all? Admiral Knox turned to look at something off-screen. When she turned back, Ambassador Chun was standing beside her. Because, Chun said quietly, we are still the same people who asked nicely for 30 years. We are still the same people who worked in your factories and fixed your ships and fought your wars. He looked tired, but his voice was strong. We are still the same people who believe that everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Even you. Even after what we did to you? Vex then asked. Chun nodded. Even after what you did to us. Because that is what makes us different from you. When we get angry, we do not try to hurt people. We try to fix the problem that made us angry. He held up a small device. I have the power to destroy every alien world in the galaxy. Right now, with this device, I could end your civilizations forever. The council chamber was completely silent, but I will not use it, Chun continued. Because that would make us just like you. And we are better than that. He put the device away. You have 1 hour to decide. Accept our terms and help us build a better galaxy. Or refuse and watch your civilizations collapse without human workers to keep them running. The screen went. The aliens looked at each other in the silence. For the first time in galactic history, humans had given them an ultimatum. And for the first time in galactic history, they were powerless to refuse. Ambassador Chun walked into the Galactic Council chambers again, but this time was different. This time he was not alone. Behind him walked Admiral Knox, General Park, Director Santos, and 20 other humans. They wore clean uniforms and carried themselves like soldiers, not like servants. Sean looked at his old seat in the back corner. The small chair where he had sat for so many years, listening to aliens decide the fate of his people. Today, that chair was empty. Instead, Sean walked to the center of the room, where High Counselor Vexton used to stand, where the most powerful being in the galaxy used to make speeches about human weakness. The alien council members sat in their tall chairs and watched him. But now they looked small, scared, like children who had been caught doing something wrong. 47 minutes, Sean said, looking at his watch. You made your decision with 13 minutes to spare. Vexton's scales had turned pale blue. The council has voted to accept your terms, unanimously. Just like you voted to relocate our people, Admiral Knox said from behind Shun. Funny how quickly you can agree on things when your own survival is at stake. We understand that we made mistakes, said Chancellor Morks. His 4 arms hung limply at his sides. We are willing to make changes to ensure peace between our species. Chun almost laughed. Mistakes? You voted to commit genocide, and you call it mistakes? We did not understand, Prime Minister Yex said quietly. We thought humans were different, less developed. We thought you would not mind living on harder worlds. You thought we would not mind watching our children die, Chun corrected her. You thought we would not mind being treated like animals. The alien leaders said nothing. What could they say? Chun looked around the room, at the beings who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, who had built great civilizations among the stars, who had thought they were better than everyone else. Do you want to know the real mistake you made? Chun asked. The aliens waited. You thought that being older made you wiser, Chun said. You thought that having advanced technology made you superior. You thought that ruling the galaxy gave you the right to decide who deserved to live and who deserved to die. He walked closer to Vexton's chair. But wisdom is not about age. Superiority is not about technology. And the right to rule comes from serving the people you lead, not from controlling them. We know that now, Vexton said. Do you? Chun asked. Or are you just saying that because we have bigger weapons? Before Vexton could answer, Sean held up his hand. It does not matter, because we are not here to rule you. We are here to make sure no one can rule over others the way you ruled over us. He pulled out a small device and set it on the council table. A holographic document appeared in the air above it. The new Galactic Constitution, Sean announced. Every species gets equal representation. Every world gets equal protection. Every person gets equal rights. The aliens looked at the document. It was long and detailed and covered everything from trade laws to military agreements. There are no primitive species in this constitution, Admiral Knox said. There are no useful species. There are no lesser species. There are only people trying to build good lives for themselves and their families. How do we know this will work? Asked another council member, a being that looked like a walking tree. How do we know our species will be safe under these new rules? Chun smiled, and for the first time in days, it was a real smile, because humans will be watching. And now you know what happens when we see someone being treated unfairly. Director Santos stepped forward. We have something else to show you. The holographic document changed. Now it showed star maps and ship designs and population charts. For 30 years, we have been building a secret civilization, Santos said. Not just weapons and ships, schools, hospitals, research centers, art galleries, places where people can live and grow and be happy. The images showed human colonies that the aliens had never known existed. Beautiful cities on hidden worlds. Children playing in gardens under alien suns. Scientists making discoveries that could help everyone. We were not just preparing for war, Santos continued. We were preparing for peace. Real peace, where everyone is treated fairly. Why show us this? Vexton asked. Because we want you to be part of it, Chun said. We want your species to join us in building something better than what came before. The aliens looked confused. You want us to join you? After what we did? Chun nodded. That is what makes us different from you. When you had power, you used it to hurt people. When we have power, we want to use it to help people. He gestured to the holographic cities. These colonies need teachers, and doctors and engineers. They need artists and musicians and writers. They need people from different species who can share their knowledge and culture. You are offering us jobs? Chancellor Morks asked, sounding surprised. We are offering you a chance to be better than you were, Admiral Knox said. A chance to use your skills and knowledge to build instead of to control. And if we refuse? Prime Minister Yex asked. Chun shrugged. Then you can go back to your home worlds and live quietly. We will not hurt you, but you will not have a voice in galactic government anymore. And you will not be able to hurt anyone else the way you hurt us. Our civilizations will collapse without the Galactic Trade Network, Vexton said. Maybe, Sean agreed. Or maybe you will learn to build something new. Something that does not depend on exploiting other species. The alien leaders looked at each other. For thousands of years, they had been the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Now they were being offered a choice. Work with humans as equals, or be left behind. If we join you, Vexton said slowly. We would not be in charge anymore. No, John said. You would not be in charge, but you would not be servants either. You would be partners. Partners with the species we tried to destroy? Chun was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was gentle. Do you know what human children learn in school? They learn that everyone makes mistakes. They learn that the important thing is not whether you make mistakes, but whether you try to fix them. He looked directly at Vexton. You made a terrible mistake. You voted to hurt innocent people because you thought they were worth less than you. But now you have a chance to fix that mistake. How? Vexton asked. By helping us make sure it never happens again, Chun said. By using your knowledge and experience to build a galaxy where every species is treated with respect. Even humans? Vexton asked quietly. Chun smiled again. Especially humans. Because we have learned something important about ourselves. We are not perfect either. We can make mistakes too. We need other species to help us remember that. Admiral Knox stepped forward. The vote is simple. Accept the new Constitution and work with us to build a better galaxy. Or reject it and watch everything you built crumble. But this time, Chun added, the choice is yours. We will not force you to join us. We will not relocate you to worlds you do not want to live on. We will not cut off your supplies or threaten your families. Why not? Vexton asked. We would have done that to you. Because, Chun said softly, that is what happens when we are angry. We do not become like the people who hurt us. We become better than them. The voting began. One by one, each alien species accepted the new Constitution. Not because they were forced to, but because they finally understood that it was the right thing to do. When the vote was finished, Chun looked around the council chambers one more time. At the place where he had been ignored and dismissed for so many years. At the place where aliens had voted to hurt his people. From now on, he said, when someone in this galaxy is treated unfairly, everyone will know what happens. Not because we will hurt the people who do wrong, but because we will help the people who have been wronged. He paused, letting that sink in. This is what happens when humans get angry. We do not destroy. We rebuild. We do not conquer. We unite. We do not seek revenge. We seek justice. And if someone threatens that justice? Vexton asked. Chun's expression grew serious. Then they will learn what 12 billion angry humans can do when we work together. But we hope that day never comes. He turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Vexton? Your family can have Proxima Station back. We never wanted to keep it. We just wanted you to understand that we could take it. As the humans walked out of the council chambers, the aliens sat in silence. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, and in 1 week, everything had changed. But maybe, some of them thought, it had changed for the better, and in the schools of 100 worlds, alien children began learning a new lesson, that anger could be a force for good, if it was used to protect instead of to harm. That was what humans had taught them. That was what happened when humans got angry.